Welcome to Top Dealer Podcast, the show where we talk innovative and disruptive automotive dealer strategies from around the world with some of the leading general managers and owners of dealerships and help you understand what you can do today to future-proof your business and to go to the next level. I'm Dave Benson and our co-host is Glenn Lundy. Ready for strategies? Let's tune in. This week's episode is sponsored by carloan.com. If your dealership is looking to grow its special finance department, Interactive Financial Marketing's carloan.com lead program will do exactly that. They're the largest generator of organic, exclusive leads in the automotive industry, spending around $1 million per month in PPC. Tell them the Hustle and Grind team sent you for pricing that you will love. Check out their website at www.interactivefmg.com. Welcome to the Top Dealer Show. I'm Dave Benson. This is the show that general managers listen to for the most innovative and disruptive strategies that are happening out there in the dealership world. We've got a special guest, but firstly, what's going on, Glenn Lundy?
Oh, man, I'm just hanging out here in Kentucky where it's a little bit cold today, but I'm just hanging out here, loving hopping on with the general managers across the nation because these guys are disrupting the auto industry, and I stinking love it, brother.
Man, it might be cold outside, but it's fire in here in this podcast, my friend.
Well, we'll definitely get it warmed up, especially with the guest we got today. I know that he's coming in from Jersey, and he's going to bring the heat, no doubt.
No doubt. Well, let's get to it. Let's introduce our special guest. We have a good friend of ours, a member of the Hustle and Grind Club, came to Hustle and Grind Con. I cannot wait to hear some of his gold. Neil Amaral is the general manager of Amaral Auto Sales up there in Lyndhurst, New Jersey. Welcome to the program and Top Dealer, Neil.
Hey guys, how you doing this afternoon?
We're living the dream, my friend.
Excited to be here.
Tell me, let's cut straight to the point. You know, when I say things like innovation and disruption, as you as a general manager of a dealership, you know, your own dealership there, tell me what that means to you.
Well, in terms of innovation, right, you always got to be kind of connected and I guess you say surround yourself with the top innovators in your industry. Like, so going to Hustle and Grind Con, I think was one of the best moves I've made in a long time, you know, to be able to be around guys like Glenn, listen to Brian Benstock, you know, rubbing elbows with guys like Scott Simons, you know, just kind of see what they're doing and their larger dealerships. For me as an independent, it's a little more difficult. Like, we don't have a manufacturer kind of pushing us in any real direction, so you kind of have to pay attention to what the big guys are doing and try to take little nuggets away from them and implement them at your store. And that's kind of what I've been doing, you know, for the last 6 years.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, definitely looking out, and that's kind of what I love about the time. You know, the time period that we live in nowadays. Back in the car business 20 years ago, I can just remember, you know, we were all kind of on an island by ourselves trying to figure out what to do and what moves to make. And now we have all these different ways to connect and to communicate and to make moves. And you mentioned, you know, Brian Benstock, he's out in that. He's in New York. I know that you're in New Jersey. What are some of the things that you've kind of picked up from some of the stuff that he's doing that you're now applying at your dealerships?
So, like, a few years ago, I got to see Brian speak at the Automotive Leadership Roundtable in Miami. And he really spoke about how he moved some of his best salesmen into the service drive. And I'm a few years behind, but we're starting to try to integrate that now, where we have folks, you know, increasing service and then keeping those customers in connection with the sales department. And then simultaneously, one of the, like, his big push now is, you know, like the future is frictionless. So what he's done is, I mean, he's got all these connections now with Google, um, and he and Waze and all these other big companies, and even VaynerMedia, I think he said. And
Yep.
what they're doing is using voice search. So if you're in the area, you can just search to like basically say to Alexa or Google Assistant, "Hey, I need my car service," and they're suggesting that you go to Paragon, which is uh, crazy to me. I mean, you can even schedule it, and they'll come pick up your car at your house. At Paragon now, you don't even have to go to the store to buy a car. You know, when I heard that, I had taken a lot of notes on the flight home back from Florida. I rewatched the video that I made myself, and I wrote down the name of the company that Ben Stock is using at Paragon for this valet service. And we've set up a program with them now that we're going to start offering free pickup and drop off for service as well. Yeah, and I think it'll be great because it just feels like as time passes and more technology comes out, that most people, at least in the tri-state area, you know, don't have any free time. Everyone's always working, so
Yeah,
nobody wants to spend their time in the car dealer getting their oil changed. You know, they're always looking to get out as fast as they can. So if you, I think it was a podcast you did with him, Glenn, a while ago. You know, they talked about the two biggest objections in the service department are how much does it cost and how long is it going to take.
Right.
And if you take out the time um, out of the picture, then it comes down to cost, and the cost isn't as big of an objection if people don't have to sit around and wait. And you have all these customers in your CRM and in your database, and everybody's trying to find people on Car Gurus and Auto Trader and Cars.com. When you have hundreds or even thousands of customers at your disposal, and you're just not servicing them properly. So if you have them coming back into service all the time, eventually they're going to want to switch up their car, and you should be offering them to, do a trade, get a nicer, newer car for the same or less, that kind of stuff. So that's going to be our big push in 2019. I think it'll be really successful.
It's amazing, Glenn Lundy, as we've spoken to so many of our guests, the focus of 2019 seems to be really repeat and referral. I mean, these customers of a repeat and referral customer, the second sale's always easier than the first. I mean, this is profound stuff. It's not something that we haven't known, but I think it's just been a lack of focus. Would you agree, Glenn?
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. We spend a lot of money and resources trying to acquire new customers. And sometimes we just take it for granted. We forget that we've got this entire database of people that already know us, have already had an incredible experience with us. Hopefully, it's been an incredible experience if we did our job right. They already trust us. They've spent money with us before. I mean, I think it should be everybody. I am always shocked to see how much money is spent targeting and advertising to acquire new customers and how little attention is spent in dealerships. We'll send out the automated response email to the customers in our CRM, but we're not spending any money marketing or advertising towards them. And so I think that's a big, big, big play in 2019. I think everybody's starting to realize that the competition is no longer just the guy down the street. Your competition is now, we were selling cars all over the country with the use of the internet and with the ability to ship cars and the different technologies and companies out there that can help with that. The competition is a much bigger pool that you're fighting against, and so it's really important that you target those customers that already have loyalty, that already love you and have experienced that with you. I think that's definitely the way to go in 2019. Another thing that I've noticed that Neil touched on, and I think is really important for everybody to pay attention to is what Neil is doing is Neil is disrupting the industry by looking around, literally taking a look around and seeing what are the customers, what do they need? What do they need? What is changing in the customer's world? And then what they need is they need more time. And especially, I was just in New York last weekend. I was in New York for a few days, and I understand the hustle and the bustle and the gridlock and the traffic jams. And, you've got trains and subways, and there's just all of these things going on. Everybody's trying to get from point A to point B. And sometimes that alone is just the hardest part of moving around those big cities is just getting to where you need to get. And so, Neil, the fact that you guys are attacking that, I think that's going to bode very well for you in 2019. I really do.
Just an example, I had a customer yesterday was interested, and he lives in Lyndhurst. We got a train station in town, and a lot of people commute into Manhattan for work. And he sent us a lead on an E-Class that we had for sale, and he's like, I just can't get there. I leave at 7, I get home at 7:30. We usually close around 7. So look, I'll stay and wait. And then he said, he ended up making it, and we sold him the car. And we were talking about being able to service his vehicle, and he's like, well, your shop closes at 6. So, well,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to be here for your car to get serviced. And I brought up the fact that, if you leave the car here in the morning on your way to work, we can schedule you to get a ride to the train station. If we're here, one of us will take you there ourselves. And then when you get back, we'll pick you up. It's no biggie.
Mm-hmm.
And he was so excited. He's like, oh man, I'm tired of wasting my day off, going to get an oil change and get my car washed. I need that day for myself to relax.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because that commute is crazy. A lot of people are spending it in New Jersey, at least, to get into Manhattan, an hour and a half, an hour each way. So some
Mm-hmm.
people are spending 3 hours a day just commuting.
Man.
They don't want to spend their day off. I don't care how nice your shop is. Our facility is pretty nice. It's definitely not like one of these new car stores. But still, even Mr. Benstock said, he's like, I don't care if you got a mini golf in in your showroom. People don't want to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
We're in an era, it's a very unique era in the auto industry where you got guys like Amazon that are starting to think about playing the automobile game, and you got Carvanas, and you've got, Google's getting in the game. You've got all these big players with big pocketbooks and big technologies. So how do you, as a smaller independent dealer, what moves are you going to make? Obviously, you're going to make it a little bit more convenient for your customer to get there, and you're making a couple changes that way. But what other changes are you planning on making to to stay as an independent dealer, to stay in the game?
Well, I think it's going to just come back to, like we talked before about retention, like just do your best all the time and always be honest, always be upfront, educate your customers. I don't think anybody at Carvana is worrying about helping their customers fix their credit so they could buy a house and they could, do things like that to take care of their families.
Mm-hmm.
If you're giving them that wow experience and they know you care, most customers, in my opinion, we're like a big family here. I don't think they would even consider going to Carvana. I don't care what the pricing is, and honestly, the prices they're paying at the auction, there's no way that they can be that competitive in terms of pricing.
Yeah, no
It's
way at
more
all.
about convenience for them. Like somebody don't want to come to the dealer, but uh, I really don't think that's the issue. Our customers like being here with us.
I just want to ask a little bit of a serious question. I think everybody kind of dances around and talks a little bit about the different big players and all the different technology and all the different changes in the auto industry. And I guess my question to you, Neil, is there a little bit of fear? Are you a little bit scared of what this is going to do, with what all these changes are going to do? And is that maybe what's kind of fueling you to make those changes now?
Of course you're scared to do new things. You don't know if you can handle it. You don't know if you're going to waste money. There's not money to waste, and I think you just kind of have to do it. And, one of the big takeaways for me at the conference was the routine thing. We talked about this before the show. I was gung-ho for 2 months, going real strong, and I could see things were moving in the right direction. And I kind of plateaued the last 2-3 weeks, and things kind of got stagnant in my life. So I think you just got to get back on the ball, even if you fall off it, and stick to your routine, and plan things out, and keep attacking and keep trying to grow, and use your friends in the industry as your support. The group, I think the Rise and Grind group and the Hustle and Grind group and the Sales Hustlers group, everybody wants to see everybody else succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime I've ever reached out to anyone, and this was kind of crazy, most people think car dealers, this whole negative stigma, bunch of bad,
Sure.
low down, dirty people. But literally everybody is so nice that I've talked to, and that maybe
Mm-hmm.
I've reached out to in a private message or something. And everyone's always been willing to help.
That's great.
So I think don't be scared to ask somebody for advice. I had Dave took time the other day to talk with me about something I was doing. Scott Simons did the other day. I mean, I think the real thing is that in terms of fear, don't fear sounding stupid or asking the wrong thing. Everybody goes through this stuff, and I think the more questions you ask, the better it will be for you in your future, and the more you'll succeed.
Beautiful.
What I love, Neil, is that we're obviously working with you, and we're by your side, and we can see the upside of your business. You've got so many projects that you've talked to us, off air and even on this podcast today. It's going to be so exciting to check back in with you in 12, 18 months' time when some of these things, really start to develop. I appreciate your time today, Neil. Thanks so much for being on Top Dealer, and we'll check back in with you.
Cool. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Top Dealer. Make sure you go and visit our website, thesaleshustlers.com, for all the other episodes, and I look forward to seeing you on next week's episode.